This is a question from Josh in Sacramento who asks, what would happen if every person on Earth were given $1 million? Great question, Josh. But before we launch into financial orbit, let's fasten our seatbelts and take a look at what the planet might turn into if suddenly everyone became rich. Let's start with the moment of distribution. Imagine, at 8 a.m. GMT, every person, from a newborn in Oklahoma to a grandmother in Nepal, receives $1 million. Some get it on a card, some on PayPal, and Uncle Sam in Montana gets it in an envelope under his door because he still uses a rotary phone. The first reaction? Euphoria. Within a minute, Twitter lights up with 1 million new hashtags. Number 1 rich, number 1 buy work, number 1 hire dad. People start buying everything. Cars, houses, 600-liter aquariums with sharks. In New York, David, a 42-year-old accountant, submits his resignation yelling, "Good luck with taxes, losers," and flies to Vegas in a helicopter. Not because he knows how to fly it, he just can afford it now. Meanwhile, the economy begins to quietly smell like it's burning. A day later, all food disappears from Los Angeles supermarkets. Not because supplies ran out, but because all the staff quit. Jessica, a manager at Whole Foods, opened a yoga studio in Mexico. Warehouse guys are now collecting antique dressers. The vegetables are still there, but no one is putting them on the shelves. Customers throw gold coins at the checkout, and the cashier is now a TikTok hologram. By the second week, inflation evolves into its final form. An economic Viking ship with oars made of devalued dollars. A loaf of bread costs $12,000. A taxi ride, $58,000. A haircut at the barber's, only through barter. A sack of rice and a set of tires. People start paying to charge their phones with luxury watches and fancy cheeses. Someone sells a coffee table for a crate of Pepsi. Because Pepsi is now the new currency. By the third month, something strange emerges. A new world order. People like Sarah from Wisconsin, who kept milking cows this whole time, suddenly become royalty. They're respected, well-paid, and invited to give TED Talks. Sarah says, the secret to success? Don't spend your million on 200 pairs of sneakers in 1 week. Meanwhile, politicians are having meltdowns. What do we do with money that means nothing now? Who sets corn prices if every second person grows it in exchange for Wi-Fi? In Dallas, City Hall suggests rolling everything back. But instead of a protest, people organize a fair where socks are traded for bananas and gas. After 6 months, the world starts to look like an advanced version of Monopoly where players forgot the rules but keep rolling the dice anyway. A moment of clarity arrives. Money doesn't make people rich. Skills do. People return to labor. Peter from Texas now has an air conditioner installation waitlist booked until 2032. A cashier from Arizona, who used to hide her salary in a teapot, now teaches MBA students how not to lose your mind from sudden wealth. So, Josh, if tomorrow someone offers you $1 million, don't rush to spend it. In a couple of weeks, that money might only buy you a bottle of ketchup and a conversation with a former electrician who is now a spiritual guru in Bali.
This is a question from Jessica from Portland, Oregon. She writes, what if everyone who didn't use social media for a whole year got paid $1 million? Good question, Jessica. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg probably wouldn't be thrilled about such a turn of events. But let's imagine that tomorrow morning, the president wakes up in the White House, sips his coffee, turns on the TV, and announces, starting today, every American who stays off social media for 12 months will receive $1 million. The country freezes. Phones drop onto carpets. Selfies are deleted in real time. And the largest digital escape in human history begins. Let's imagine Jason, 34 years old, from Dallas. He works as a barista, but dreams of early retirement and a lakeside cabin. Upon hearing the news, he panics, grabs his phone, deletes Instagram, then Facebook, then TikTok, and just to be sure, digs a hole in the backyard and buries his smartphone. At first, anxious silence. Then, euphoria. And on the third day, withdrawal. Jason stands in the middle of the kitchen and catches himself about to photograph his breakfast to send to no one. He just stares at the omelet, like a ghostly reminder of a past life. Meanwhile, in New York, Carla, 26, a blogger and influencer with 2.4 million followers, holds a press conference. Through tears, she says goodbye to her stories. "I always knew this would end, but I didn't think it would be for 1 million." She leaves the stage, casting one last glance at her iPhone, like at an ex. The audience gives a standing ovation. Even the mayor. By the end of the first month, things spiral out of control. The State Department releases a brochure titled "How to Survive Without Likes." Libraries are packed. People start opening real books en masse and relearn how to make eye contact. Someone discovers for the first time in 12 years that their dog has real emotions, not just a filter with ears. And then comes the crucial moment. 11 months and 29 days. Jason has only one night left. He's in the kitchen, waiting for dawn. And then, a notification. How? Why? He panics, grabs a shovel, runs to the backyard, digs up the same hole. The phone looks brand new. He turns on the screen and accidentally taps Open Instagram. At that exact moment in Washington, the system triggers. Jason's program status is revoked, and the $1 million vanish into thin air. And somewhere in Montana, a man named Paul has been chopping wood all year, unaware that he just became a millionaire. The moral? Maybe the only way to get rich is to finally leave all those cat videos alone. This is a question from Jenny from San Diego. She asks, what if everyone who lived 10 years without a single loan were paid $1 million? Good question, Jenny. And a bold one, because you've just opened the gates to a world where the word mortgage sounds like a horror movie spell and a credit card feels like a cursed artifact from an Amazon warehouse. So, let's imagine a morning. The President of the United States, sipping his coffee, steps out to the press and solemnly declares, starting today, anyone who goes 10 years without taking out a loan gets $1 million. In cash, tax-free, no questions asked. The country freezes. Credit limits start melting off faces like a blush of shame. Somewhere in Omaha, Joe, 45 years old, an accountant and credit score enthusiast, drops his iPhone on the carpet. He just remembered he financed a lawnmower and kissed that million goodbye. Meanwhile, in Portland, Lauren, 29, a freelance barista, has been living by the motto, "If I can't pay for it, I don't buy it," for 7 years. Her room looks like an IKEA loft, but everything in it was either found or gifted. Lauren puts on her recycled cotton beanie, hops on her bike, not a trace of leasing involved, and rides off to celebrate 3 more years to go. And then, $1 million, not borrowed, real. Back in Chicago, Bobby, 54, a car mechanic, walks to the ATM with purpose. He pulls out his last credit card, raises it over his head, and in slow motion, tosses it into a shredder. His wife claps beside him. In Bobby's head, the triumphant music from The Rock plays. Somewhere, a mortgage broker collapses, but it's not that simple. Imagine a mass exodus, people fleeing banks like a burning movie theater, only instead of popcorn, they're holding cash. No one takes out loans anymore. Banks go into panic. Wells Fargo employees stage a protest, give us back our interest. Someone starts underground credit anonymous clubs where people whisper, I financed a washing machine again. 5 years later, a new American hero emerges. Steve from Cleveland. He lives in a trailer, eats oatmeal, and doesn't use Uber. Steve is a national icon. He has a YouTube channel called How to Survive Debt-Free Without Losing Your Mind. Millions of subscribers. His dog becomes the face of the new Cash for Minimalism program. But nearing year 10, the drama begins. Someone slips up and buys a couch on credit, a week before the finish line. Screaming, tears, emergency therapy, and someone else, on the contrary, makes it all the way and now holds $1 million check. He walks down the street and people whisper, that's him. He doesn't owe anyone a cent. Now imagine all of this is real, and you're at the starting line. looking at your credit history and thinking, what if I could do it? Just remember, one installment subscription and it's over. The million vanishes.
Like a Starbucks coffee if you don't pick it up in time. So thank you for the question, Jenny, and to everyone else, good luck, because in this game, the only winners are the ones who say no to credit, to the couch, and to the buy now, pay later button.
Thanks to everyone who clicked like and subscribed to the channel. We look forward to your questions in the comments and see you in the new video.